And as this on this day, of course, we're saying Merry Christmas to everybody because it is Christmas Eve, and we are celebrating the holiday in a big way because it's back in vogue for many people. And our next guest has some ideas about the traditions around the holiday. He says that this year, focus on paying it forward. Bob Richter has literally written the book on Christmas. He's an antiques dealer, designer, and the author of the new book, A Very Vintage Christmas. He joins us now here on set. Welcome. It's good to see you here today.
Thank you. Merry Christmas,
Merry
Irma.
Christmas to you, too. And you're all decked out in your red, very festive. It's wonderful.
That's right.
I know it's really important for you to convey the message to everyone about the sense of connection that people feel at Christmas time, particularly through the items and the decorations that fill our lives from the time we are children.
That's right. They connect us. And they bring continuity to our family. For instance, these little choir boys here were always on my Nana's buffet every single year.
They're so charming.
Yes, yes, and so many people around the country recognize these because they bought them at the 5 and dime. Now, my grandmother did something really special. She liked to pay it forward. So when I was old enough, she gave them to me, but they came with a story. And she told me that she bought them in a year. We had a family business. It was very lean times, and it was the only Christmas she bought that year. 5 cents for 3 little choir boys. And to me, they're priceless.
They are priceless.
So I really believe that we should give our things away along with our family history around them. There's still time to run up in the attic and grab some stuff.
We just saw a shot of you at Christmas as a young boy.
Yes.
Those memories, you know, are just so special because when we look back at photographs, it really brings back, you know, the senses of the smell in the home of baking and the tree and just the range of emotions that you feel. And taking a look at these vintage objects, all of that comes back to you, doesn't it?
For sure.
If you are really connected in a special way.
Absolutely. Well, in that photograph that you just saw of me, that was a surprise. I came home from the pediatrician, which what kid wants to go to the pediatrician?
Yeah,
and my
absolutely.
brother surprised me with my very own Christmas tree. And underneath was this jolly old fellow. So he's been with me for over 40 years. And it's really special to me. The truth of the matter is, it's all about the emotional value.
Why did you want to put all of this together in this book? What do you want people to come away with?
Because it connects us. I meet people all over the country that know this Santa Claus, that know these choir boys.
They remember. I mean, they remember,
Absolutely.
For example, the flame-proof snow.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I don't know if it's still flame-proof. I wouldn't give it a shot, but I use it as decorative. And when people walk in and see this, they're like, oh, my gosh, my Aunt Sarah had that. And
why do you think,
love
particularly now, this vintage, the idea of vintage Christmas is so much on the minds of people? Why people are so focused on wanting to recreate those memories that they had in childhood?
I'll be really honest. I think that technology is great for connecting us, and it's also disconnected us. Everybody's on their iPhones, and everybody's super busy, and I think that at Christmas, we have an excuse to slow down and connect. And when we remember these things, it predates any of the technology that we have today, and it's a common ground. No matter what your political beliefs or your socioeconomic background, Christmas, if you celebrate it, it really is the common ground for all of us.
The ornaments that you have right there, they're photographs of your childhood as well, correct?
Oh, golly, these actually are not my childhood. These were given to me just this year. And
oh, my. But people make these things,
yes,
you know,
yes.
and they collect them, they save them over the years, and that's something very special to hold on to.
That's right, that's right. My friend's an artist, and she created these frames, and she put pictures of my grandmother inside of them. Nowadays, people don't have pictures framed anymore. Everybody has their pictures on their phone. Oh, let me get my phone. I'll show you my grandkids. Yes. Well, my friend actually took the time to go onto Facebook, print out pictures of my grandmother, and put them in these little frames, and I'm going to put them on my Christmas tree.
So the advice you have to people today in terms of wanting to really create that sense of connection with family going forward, particularly with a family that's just starting out with young children, what's the advice that you have for them?
Start traditions. Hallmark started it with keepsake ornaments, right? Everybody was buying an ornament for the kids, but you can do things at home. You know, people used to make the ornaments for their Christmas trees. I'm still a big fan of doing that. Stringing popcorn and cranberry. It's hard to text when you're stringing popcorn and cranberry, by the way.
How do you take the commercialism out of all of it? Because so many people complain about the fact that we are over-commercialized at Christmas and that the pressure to buy gifts and to meet the deadline on Christmas Day is so high today.
Yeah, that's where I say slow down and get crafty. Put in an old movie, cut construction paper with an old-fashioned scissors, make little paper chains, and celebrate the old-fashioned way.
You mentioned pay it forward.
Yes.
And that is something that you really feel very strongly about.
Yes, yes. That's the last chapter of my book, and it's only a page and a half. And I say if anybody reads anything in the book, read that chapter, because what was done for me so generously is people who loved me gave me their Christmas objects while they were still alive. And then they got to see them live on in a different way. So I can guarantee you this year I'm going to pull off one of my favorite ornaments and give it to somebody and tell them a little story along with that ornament.
Where can people find some of these collectibles, you know, that connect them to their childhood? If they're trying to start collecting and trying to show, you know, for example, their children what was around when they were youngsters, and try to connect them in a very special way to the Christmases of their past.
Yeah, well, those are my favorite places. Flea markets, garage sales, estate sales, antique shops, and they're loaded at this time of the year. There's still time to get out there. If you pull over in an antique shop, I guarantee you it's blown out with Christmas. And if you weren't lucky enough to still have this Santa that I have from 40-some years ago, you can walk in and find it. And the truth of the matter is, probably won't cost more than $5 or $10. These things aren't million-dollar items, but they're priceless because it's the emotional value.
They are priceless indeed, and you consider all of these priceless objects, to be sure, correct?
Absolutely.
And people can really learn more about how to collect and what to look for in terms of the items and why all of this has such meaning in our country today. In your book.
For sure.
It's a wonderful book. It's a wonderful read. A very vintage Christmas. It's so great to have you on board today, Bob. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
And thank you for doing this, because this is so important, because I do remember objects from my childhood that you cannot find anywhere today, and I wish I could pass it on to my daughter, for example, so she could get a sense of it, because today all they see are these, you know, mass-produced ornaments, mass-produced items to celebrate the holiday, and they don't get the same sense of this, the nostalgia of what this represents.
Well, you tell me what you're looking for that reminds you of your childhood.
I will.
I'll find it for you, and you pass it along to your daughter.
I used to wear as a kid, you know.
Lights up, you pull it, right?
It lights up and the nose lights up red. So
I'm going to find you one.
I'm on the lookout for that one.
Done.
All right, great to see you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.